So first of all, I want to welcome you to our open house for those interested in our Masters of Science in Disability Services in Higher Education, or our new advanced certificate, although we haven't really announced it yet. I wasn't able to talk about it until it got approved by state ed, which happened yesterday afternoon. One of the things I want to do is do a very short slideshow, a PowerPoint, and then I'm going to take your questions, okay? Okay, so a little bit about me. I began in the field in 1974. I was the program director at a foundation that was really funding community programs after the expose of Willowbrook State School, mostly for folks with intellectual disabilities. I co-founded a nonprofit to work on systems change advocacy, and I did that for a long time, 25 years, although I'm still on the board. Mostly I worked with parents and self-advocates to develop programs, but I started to teach at CUNY in 1993, and I became the director of this program, the Disability Studies program, in 2008. So we have several programs here, a bachelor's degree in disability studies, an advanced certificate and a master's of arts in disability studies, and now an advanced certificate and a master's of science in disability services in higher education. And that's what the program I'm going to talk about today. Our school is home to 13 master's degrees, 11 bachelor's degrees, 4 dual degrees, 13 certificate and advanced certificate programs. CUNY is huge, right? The City University of New York has about 260,000 students on 25 campuses, but we're a new school. We're just a little bit under 20 years old, and we are, to some extent, the online version of CUNY. We have over 4,000 students now enrolled in degree programs here. We're fully accredited, and we're one of CUNY's 25 campuses. Our program is the first of its kind in the country. I created it, so I'm proud of it. We developed it in cooperation with the Association on Higher Education and Disability, AHED. And our curriculum is taught by expert practitioners who also have experience teaching online. So there are people who work in disability service offices now. Our law course on the Americans with Disabilities Act is taught by a lawyer. So we try to have people who work in the field and work doing the work that we're teaching to teach the program. And our program is fully online, so people don't have to come to campus. So you should apply if you're working currently in the disability service office and you want some specific advanced knowledge, or if you want to obtain an educational credential. If you want to prepare for a career in disability services, this might be a good program for you. And if you're responsible for accommodations in public venues like parks, concerts, sports arenas, if you're in HR, this might be a good program for you to learn about how to support your employees with disabilities. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our curriculum. In the MS program, it's a 30 credit curriculum. So there are 10 courses that students complete, 6 required courses. And you can see they cover kind of the basics, legal aspects of disability services. So that's about the ADAs and Section 504 as they apply to colleges, a course on assistive technology, a course on higher ed, disability service administration. So that's how to actually run an office in an institution of higher education. There's a course on neurodiverse students in college, and then you take a capstone course, which is kind of the culmination of your time here with us. And it's usually the last course that people take. And we also have a variety of electives, one on universal design in higher ed, one on emerging populations. So that's looks at the course material changes a bit depending on who's newly arriving on college campuses. So it deals with veterans and students on the autism spectrum, students who have multiple issues, students who have language differences and so forth. There's a course on accommodations outside the classroom. So if you need to provide accommodations in residence halls or co-curricular activities, that might be a course for you. You have a course on supporting students with psychiatric disabilities. There's a course on disability and diversity, a course on grant writing, a transition from college to work. There's a course on supporting students with intellectual disabilities on college campuses, because we now have an influx of people who are traditionally haven't been on college campuses, but now are coming on with a greater frequency. And so knowing how to support them. And then sometimes we have special topics courses to enrich the curriculum, and we have the capacity to do an independent study if somebody wants to do that. In our new advanced certificate, students take one required course. It's a foundational course in the field. And then they can choose any 3 electives from the courses offered in the MS program. So if people have some knowledge of some aspect of disability services, but they want to take some coursework for more in-depth knowledge about other aspects, you can do that. And for new students, we have the opportunity for a practicum if students want it. So here are some questions that people ask us. Can I really earn my degree online? Yes. The MS is completely online. I don't know why either is in there. Our degree is all online, and so is the advanced certificate. So all of those programs, you don't really ever have to come to campus except for graduation. Hopefully at the end of the COVID pandemic, we will have in-person graduations again. People ask how long it's going to take to get their degree. And the truth is that it depends on you, the students. Most of our students are working. Many of them have families. So for those folks, mostly our students take 2 courses a semester, and we would not recommend them taking more than 2. But if you want to take 1 course, you can do that and move through the program a little bit more slowly. We do offer courses in the summer, and so some students take summer courses, some students prefer to take the summer off, and that's perfectly fine. So we don't have a time limit that we set for you to move through this program. It's really up to you. But most of our students take 2 courses a semester. So we also get asked if we accept courses from other master's programs. We look at courses for transfer on a case-by-case basis. So there are other programs, for example, the advanced certificate at the University of Connecticut. Their courses look very much like our courses. So I'm likely to take those courses and transfer because they're very much the same subject matter as the courses in our program. But other programs have courses that don't really align with our courses, and probably I would not take it, not take those. If you would like to transfer a course and you think that it might fit our curriculum, then it would be helpful to me to make a decision for you to send the syllabus so I can determine if it's aligned with the courses in our program, and then I could take the credits. We do have limited scholarship funds. They're on our website. We don't usually give people a full ride, but our scholarships tend to be in the range of $1,000 or so. So it'll pay for most of 1 course. But we don't have, massive scholarship funds. So far, we're a new school. We do provide accommodations for students with disabilities here as well. So here are some important people at emails for you to know: our admissions office, the scholarships office, financial aid, and our bursar. Information is here. And here are the folks to talk to. Our assistant director is Tamara Colon, and she is available to talk or to take your phone call. The phone numbers here are our office phones, and I'm here in my office generally a few days a week. Tamara is generally working from home. So the best thing to do if you want to speak with her is to send her an email and she will arrange for time to talk with you. And you could phone me or send an email and I can call you back if you'd like, or you can call our office phone, and when I'm in the office, I will return your phone call. So that's really all I wanted to say about our curriculum. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and turn on my video. There I am. So if you have questions, please let me know, because I would be happy to answer them. Just use the chat function and I will get to them one by one. Okay, you don't have any yet, but I know you do have questions. So you can see I'm here in my office at SPS. Lori, how long is the semester? We have 15-week semesters here, except for the summer sessions, which tend to be 7 weeks. So that's a short semester. But the rest of them are 15 weeks. Other questions that people have about our program? Is there a specific order that classes should be taken? We asked people to start with the foundational course, which is DSAB 601. It's the course that both our Masters of Arts students take and our Masters of Science students take. Other than that, I would, I offer the required courses every semester, but I rotate electives. And generally within the course of a year, that is 2 semesters, you will have the opportunity to enroll in the electives that we have, because I tend to rotate them. So half of them are offered in the spring and half of them are offered in the fall. A couple of them are offered in the summer, so that during the course of an academic year, you would have access to all of those. But there isn't a particular, other than I would say you should take a DSAB 601 first, and that one of the last courses you should take is the course on Disability Service Administration, because it tends to incorporate material from the other classes that you've taken and the other required classes. And the capstone course is usually the last course that you take. And a little bit about the capstone, you have choices with the capstone of an e-portfolio, which might help you if you're job seeking. You could do a long research paper, or you can do the practicum, a kind of internship, if you don't have experience working in a disability service office. But that's usually towards the end of the program. Julie, you asked about the cost. On our website, you can see the cost of our graduate programs. I think that the course per course is about $1,400 at this point. So if you multiply that by 10, that's 14,000 and something. And with theories, add fees on every semester. So technology fees and all the rest of it. I would say between the cost of books and those fees and tuition, if you budget about $15,000, that will cover the cost of the whole program, approximately. They may, occasionally they do raise tuition, but I think that if you ballpark budget around 15,000, that you'd be there. Specific requirements for admissions. So for admissions, we ask that we don't require the graduate record exam. We ask that you give us some demographic information, right? Your name and age and all that stuff, where you live. A personal statement about why you want to come to this program. Transcripts from your bachelor's degree and any graduate work that you've done. and 2 letters of recommendation from people who can tell us about your ability to study on the graduate level. And that's essentially makes up your admissions packet. We don't require the GRE. The admissions requirements state that you would need a 3.0 GPA from your bachelor's degree. But I want to say that we look holistically at these applications. And if there is a reason why your GPA isn't 3.0, we would appreciate your mentioning why, tell us why in your personal statement, so that the admissions committee can look at you as a whole person and make a determination about admission. Okay, so I think I got to the cost, total course of the program, total course program. I'm not sure what that means, Rose, so I'm going to skip it. How long do the courses typically meet during the semester? It's a 15-week semester, but our program is online, so our students don't see each other. These courses are asynchronous. You log on at the beginning of the week, you do them, you read the materials that are given. There are videos, there are activities that you do. You start to discuss the materials towards the end of the week. If there are papers due, they're usually due on Sunday. And that's kind of how it goes. So we're really geared for people who have families and work. There are deadlines in the program, but the week itself is flexible. So you can log on Monday morning, or you could log on Tuesday morning, as long as you complete most of the reading by the time that it's time to start engaging with your faculty member and your fellow students about the material. So I hope I answered your question, Julie. MA certificate. Okay, so the program that I'm talking about today is a Master's of Science program in Disability Services in Higher Ed, right? And this program is geared to people who are providing accommodations to college students with disabilities. So that's the MS program. And as of yesterday, we have the ability to offer an advanced certificate. So a graduate certificate that's 4 courses that gives you a little bit of information about the subject. And then if you want to keep going, those courses would transfer into the Masters of Science program. So Laura, you mentioned an MA certification. Generally, we have a master's, we have a graduate certificate in disability studies that articulates to our Masters of Arts program. That's a whole different program that I'm speaking about today. So, and these graduate certificates are just evidence of graduate work. They're not a certification in the sense that certifications generally imply that you're going to sit for a licensing exam, or that you've done something that is going to certify you to do something with somebody. That's not what advanced certificates or graduate certificates do. So I just want to be clear about that. So you could take an MA advanced certificate if you're interested in disability studies. That would be perfectly fine. And I'm doing an open house about that tomorrow, but that's not the program I'm speaking about today, okay? The practicum office. So yeah, I created an advanced certificate for people who don't work in the field and might want a little bit of coursework. And so in that program, there's an opportunity to do a practicum, which is an on-site work experience for people who have the time to do that. In the MS program, there's an opportunity for an internship, so it's similar. And I think that State Ed would like me to add this formal practicum opportunity to the MS program. So, but they're essentially the same thing. It's like an internship where you work in a disability service office under supervision. You have a work plan about what you're going to learn there. And we interface with you and your supervisor during the semester to make sure that you're learning what you wanted to, and that the supervisor can attest that you learned that. So that's the practicum opportunity. Can international applicants enroll? We do have people from, I think we have people from Canada in this program, but we haven't traditionally had people from other countries, partially because their their legislation is different. That is, we have the ADA, and the Office of Civil Rights that enforces the ADA, particularly about college students, but other countries don't have that. So it's a little, you'd have to kind of translate it culturally, but we don't prohibit international applicants from taking the program. In order to apply, you would need to have, if you got your bachelor's degree in a country that wasn't the US, you have to have your degree translated and evaluated to make sure that it's the equivalent of an American bachelor's degree. But there's information about that on our website. There are companies that do that. You took the DSP, DSP2 certificate programs. They don't count towards this graduate program. They don't really have anything to do with this particular subject, even though you're a DSP. What's the difference between this and that's because Rose, this is about providing accommodations to college students. College students come in with needs for assistive technology, to have perhaps a modified curriculum, to have screen readers so that they can access materials, to have us work with the instructor to modify the instructional materials if necessary. So that's quite different from what DSPs do. So, so I just wanted to say it's different. What's the difference between the MA and the MS? So disability studies as a subject was started by mostly academics with physical disabilities. And when they were able to access college campuses in the 1970s because of the Rehab Act of 73, they started to turn the lens of whatever subject they were studying on their experience as a disabled student. So if they were studying history, they looked at history as it pertains to people with disabilities. If they were looking at the humanities, they looked at representations of disability in literature, and so forth. So the MA program and disability studies in general sits somewhere between the humanities and the social sciences, and it provides a multidisciplinary look at disability. So we have a law course, and we look at not just the ADA, but laws pertaining to people with a whole variety of disabilities. We have a course in disability history. We have a course in disability narratives. We have a course on disability in the health professions. We have a course on disability in the humanities, and so forth. So we look at disability from a variety of perspectives and kind of unpack disability in society. But that program doesn't prepare you for a specific job, right? It's not an applied degree in any sense of the word. And a lot of what students graduate with depends to some extent on their interests as they come into that program. The advanced certificate that articulates to that MA program is a shorter version. So people take 2 required courses. A course is kind of a foundational course in the field and a course on embodiment. And then they can take 2 electives to get that advanced certificate in disability studies. This program, the advanced certificate and Masters of Science degree, is an MS degree because it tends to be more applied, and it teaches people the skills they need to provide accommodations to college students with disabilities. So it's very specific. It talks about access to course materials. It's for people who want to work in an academic setting, providing accommodations to college students. So it's much more applied, and that's the difference between the 2 programs. Okay. So what's the main difference between the MA and FS? I think I answered that. So yeah, so this is the course, right? So this courses are 470 a credit. I should have looked it up before I started this. So it's 470 times 3. So a course is $1,410. So if you multiply that by 10, it's $14,100 plus fees and books. So as I said, if you budget $15,000 hopefully you'll come in a little bit under that. Do we need a visa? You don't need a visa because our program's online. So you're not going to come to the United States to study. You're going to study from the country that you're in. General proportion of exams. I think that in the MS program, I think that we have maybe one course that uses exams and the rest use papers or projects. So, so most of our program would require papers or a field project of some sort rather than an examination. How many students typically enroll per semester? In the program, we have, I want to say 70 students right now. It's growing a little bit, so, but that's kind of the number of students that we have currently. And I want to say that of our alumni, as far as I know, they do tend to keep in touch. All of them are working in the field of accommodations. So they all either got a job in the field or were working already and got a promotion since they got their degree. Transfer credits, Tamara put that in there, great. Okay. Yeah, the advanced certificate, our advanced certificates are structured so that the courses that you take are the same ones in the master's program. So if you get a B or better in those courses in the advanced certificate, you'd have to reapply because the program is considered a separate program from the advanced certificate. But we don't necessarily have a reason to deny you if you did well in the advanced certificate program. So we would, then you could transfer those courses into the MS and you would have almost half your degree done. Okay. Great. So you're from India. So, okay. So if you're working in a disability service department, this might be helpful to you. That would be great. We'd love to have you as a student. Okay. Questions in the Q&A box or the chat. Yeah, if you want to come to the MA program session, I'm happy to talk to you. The quickest time, you know, I really would not suggest you take 3 courses a semester because what we found is that students don't do well when they do. They either drop out or they drop a course. So I wouldn't suggest you do it. So if you take 2 courses in the spring semester, right, and a course in the summer, and then repeat it, you can graduate in a couple of years from this program. It's 10 courses, so that makes sense. Is there generally a percentage of applicants who are accepted or not accepted? To be honest, this is a public institution, and I'm very interested in professionalizing the field of disability services. I want people who work in this field to have information, to be confident about what they know, and to be able to really assist college students to graduate. If you know the statistics about college students with disabilities who graduate, they're really bad. So I would like more college students to be able to graduate because that has implications for their employment and for the rest of their lives. So I tend to try and accept students if possible. We don't have the kind of physical restrictions that some campuses have about classroom space. This is an online program. So if I have students who want to come and I need an extra section of a course, I can just open another section online. So I tend to accept students who are qualified to come to the program. I want students to come and I want them to graduate. So I don't look for reasons to not accept students. I tend to look for reasons, and the admissions committee does too, to try and accept students and support them. So we have had students in the program who've been working in special ed, but I just want to caution you that the laws are different. We don't have IDEA. You know, students don't have IEPs. They have a different set of laws that pertain to students. but some of the other courses might be useful to you. What's the difference between early acceptance? It basically helps us to be able to process your application, review it, and build your account. So the early acceptance, I think, is on November 5th, and then there's a deadline of December. And the December deadline is really one where it takes us time to get the admissions committee together and to review your application and to then build your account here. We have to build a lot of your accounts by hand in our admissions office. So we try to get people to apply early because it helps us kind of manage the workflow. But it's not that we use different criteria if you apply on the 5th or on the 9th. If you're going to wait until December to submit your application, the thing that I would hope you would do is to make sure all your documents are in, so the transcripts and your letters of recommendation, because we really need to move quickly. The faculty are on leave after they get their grades in kind of mid to late December. So we have to make sure the admissions committee can get together and process stuff before then. So December 9th, if you're going to wait till then to apply, or you need to for whatever reason, we would really appreciate that you get the whole packet in. If you're applying early on the 5th, we can hold your application for a couple of weeks until we get all your documents in one place to review your application. But the time is very short. And we want to make sure that we, give you a graduate orientation. I do a live orientation. There's one online to teach you how to use our learning platform and stuff like that. So it helps us plan a little bit if you come earlier. But other than that, we don't use different criteria. It's just, it just helps us. What jobs can you apply? If you, in your country, I'm not sure, right, in India, but here, if you look at higher ed jobs and you look at, there's a category for disability services, there are like 100 jobs listed. So some of them are directors of departments, but there's a whole lot of different jobs in the field that people can get. In general, when people have gotten their degree here, they have gotten either a promotion where they are, or sometimes they've moved to a different college, but then at a higher level. So that's there. Q&A. Let's look at Q&A. There's both. Do we help with job placement is the question I see in Q&A. Yes, we have a career services department. And they we get every semester a bunch of inquiries from colleges who are looking for people to fulfill this role. The word is out that we have this program. So people send those things to us. And sometimes we have postings for jobs that we would send out to people, as well as helping you with your resume and so forth. So they'll work closely with you. Lori asked, when do people learn about when they've been accepted? We try to turn, as long as your application is complete, we can't review applications that don't have all the documents, right? But if your application is complete, usually we can turn it around in a couple of weeks. So you'd know. Can you work in a higher ed disability service office without this degree? People do. Generally, people who work in this program, generally people who work in this program, who are in this program, do work in a disability service office. And there are people out there who have degrees usually in disability services offices around the country. If you look at the degrees they've got now, if they haven't taken this program, they have degrees in rehab counseling, social work, and special ed. And generally, if you have those degrees, you may be asked by the university to work in running a disability service office or working in a disability service office. But those degrees don't teach you about the skills you need in order to work in a disability service office and provide accommodations. So there's always some on-the-job training that people have to do. I created this curriculum with a head because they did a survey of all of their members. They've got 2,500 members, all of whom work in disability services offices. And they asked them, what would you need more information in? What do you need to know to use your job, to do your job correctly? And what I did was take the top 10 things that people said they wanted to know about their job that would help them be more effective in their job. And I created a curriculum with the folks from ahead addressing those topics. And then I added some more topics over the years as this program has grown a little bit. So, so yes, you can work in a disability service office, but generally, the things that we teach you in this program are actually the practical knowledge that you need in order to actually be more confident and do a better job, working in it. So that's the answer, I think, to your question, Lorianne. Are there in-person requirements? There aren't. In our psychosocial, cultural, and political aspects of disability, I think that the person teaching that course has optional sessions, like once a month, for people who want to get together and see each other. All of our professors have student hours for an hour every week, so you can talk to the instructor should you want to, but there's not a requirement to do so. And there isn't a requirement to be logged online at any specific time in our courses. What would you miss from an in-person program? I think that, the research has shown that I think that people are happiest in hybrid programs where they're on campus for some of the time and online some of the time. But I think that, having said that, the people in our programs are generally fairly satisfied. There's a lot of engagement with their fellow students and with the faculty. I'm teaching this semester, and I have student hours, and I do have students who come and they talk to me. But also when I see the engagement in the discussions, people really are getting to know each other and talking to each other. We have had people that make friends and they continue after the program ends. So I think that, I think people miss the kind of in-person interactions that you would have if you were on a campus and you were able to, after class, walk with a fellow student and sit down on a bench in the quad and have a conversation. But you can do those kinds of interactions here too, through Zoom or our online platform and our learning management system. So that helps. The students required to send in X amount of time a week of the requirements to send. We do have requirements for students to interact in terms of discussions. So generally in our programs, you log in, generally our courses start on Monday. So you log in on Monday, you find the materials you need to read. Sometimes they're posted online, sometimes they're in a textbook. You read the material, or you watch the video, or you start the project that you've been assigned. And then by about Thursday, you start to get online and discuss these things. So most of our courses have a requirement that a student do an initial post about their reaction to the material on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday, and then that they respond to 2 of their classmates by Sunday. So you would need to log on. So I would say our students tend to log on maybe every other day or so, but we don't require it. So we don't penalize people for not logging on, but we would penalize them for not engaging in the discussion. Because that's the part that really we like to have student engagement in. So we try to encourage people to do that. And often we do that by assigning points to the discussions that people have to engage in. So you might get penalized that way. We don't have an in-person program, we're all online. So you wouldn't be able to come online to it. Okay. That's all the questions. That's a miracle. So other questions that people have. One thing I want to say is that, during the COVID pandemic, people have been taking online courses, and sometimes, the faculty aren't really prepared to teach online. But we've been doing this now for quite a long period of time, considering, about 15 years. And we train our faculty to teach online. All of our faculty are experienced in doing so. And our courses are built to take advantage of the online environment. So I think that, I think we're pretty thoughtful about it. Our bachelor's program is up in the 2% of best online programs in the country. I'd like to think that our graduate programs are also pretty good. I'm very proud of this program. I consider it as a kind of an extension of my advocacy activities in trying to improve the lives of disabled men and women by helping them get through college, and also by helping our students find good jobs in the field, providing these accommodations. I would say in our program, we have a number of students who are disabled, and we have a number of faculty members with disabilities. So, for example, the person teaching our assistive technology course uses assistive technology because of her disability. So, so we try to walk the walk here. I think I answered the course about admissions for international applicants. I would say that you would need to have your degree evaluated, your bachelor's degree evaluated. In countries where English isn't the language, you would need to take the test of English as a foreign language. But I think because you're from India, you may not need that. But that information's on our website, and I would suggest that you just contact our admissions department and confirm with them that that's true. And they can help you, because one of the things our application asks for is a social security number. So they can give you a number to plug in there into your application so that it will be accepted. Lori, are the video captioned? In our program, our courses are accessible. So if we have videos that we ask people to watch, they're definitely captioned, sure. Yeah, so, yeah, so, okay, so, you probably wouldn't have to take the TOEFL exam. Okay. Other questions in the chat? Oh, we have another Q&A question. What platform is used? We use Blackboard. It's our learning management system, but I think that we're considering changing, but if we change, it'll take a while because CUNY is so huge, it just takes a while to do stuff here. But at the moment, we're using Blackboard as a learning management system, which everybody hates, but we use it anyway. Oh, you're good. You're, oh, in Ypsilanti, at Eastern Michigan. I know somebody who teaches there. My sister worked for Michigan State University for a while. I think I answered that, Felicia, earlier, but maybe you weren't here. We don't require the GRE. Okay. If the scholarship can be used for summer sessions, I actually have no idea. I think that it's a tuition scholarship, so you should be able to use it, but you'd have to, I think the scholarships are for people already enrolled, so you wouldn't be eligible unless you're actually in the spring semester. Okay, Q&A. Okay. What else? Other questions? if applications are submitted before the deadline, because considerations start at that point. The way it works is that in order to consider your application, I need to get the admissions committee together. And I usually don't do that if we have just 2 applications. So generally we bunch them, right? So, so if you submit your application, I would generally wait for early applications, and we would probably do them at that point. So I tend to wait to closer near the deadline because I tend to get more bunched applications around the deadline. And I haven't actually looked. I think I have some MA applications to get the committee ready for. I don't think I have a group of MS applications yet, but we can look later this afternoon and see what's there to see if we can get the committee together. Okay, total scholarship available. It's on our website. Usually there's the Cassane scholarship, which is available to MS students. And I'm not sure, I think they give $1,000. I'm not sure, but they are likely not to give more than that. So as I said, we don't have huge scholarship money, and we don't give people, we don't have enough to give students a free ride. So it's a very limited, small thing. It doesn't even really pay for an entire course. But so they're limited. And I understand for international folks that's a problem. The best thing I can say is that people used to have to come to live in the United States, right? And that was a big cost because when you came, you would have to, prove that you had enough money to live here while you were going to school. At least because our program is online, we take that part of the cost away. And we do offer in-state tuition to people who are out of state. So it's as if you're a resident of New York. And CUNY is a bargain. It really is. If you look at other private universities, we're really pretty cheap. A $15,000 master's is, fairly inexpensive as master's degrees go. So, so I can say that, that we try very hard to keep the costs down, but it's not nothing, and it's still a big expense. I understand that. Okay. More questions? My email. Okay, so you have Tamara's. Mine is here. It is. So you can ask me. You can ask me or Tamara by email. And this is Tim. I'm sure Tamara's put hers in, but we'll do it again. I'll put it in. I just did. There's a rarity today, which is that Tamara and I are actually in our office together because both of us, tend to work remotely. So we're both in today. So she's in the office next door. So I just was talking to her. Okay. Other questions that people have? If you have questions that I didn't answer, oh, you're in a head member. Great. If you have questions that I didn't answer, feel free to email me. We love to talk to students and to talk by email. So don't hesitate to email me. I'm happy to talk to you. And so is Tamara. She loves to talk to students. We love to. We really want, as I said, I'm proud of this program. I try to make it accessible to people. I want you to come and enjoy what we offer. I'd love to have students graduate, and I hope that we'll see your application. I think that people seem satisfied with the program. They like the courses. They have gotten jobs when they graduate that they seem happy with. So it's all good here. And I'm really proud of the advanced certificate that we just literally got registered with state education yesterday. I think that it will help students who are just starting in the field to do better and provide better services for college students with disabilities. So we hope to see you here in the spring. And I look forward to reading your application. I know there's another thing in Q&A. What proportion of students have disabilities? Laurie, so here's the deal. I don't often know when students have disabilities if they disclose or they need accommodations for our disability service office. But generally, people will write in their application that they have a disability. So from what I can determine in our disability studies program, somewhere around 30 or 40% of our students have disabilities. Some of them have disclosed and are receiving accommodations. Some of them have not disclosed formally to the disability service office. But for example, if I'm teaching a class, they will say in their introductions that they have a disability, and they may have a disability that doesn't require them to have accommodations. So that's my ballpark, but because of HIPAA, I can't ask people their status, and I don't necessarily need to know. It's just an interesting for me to know. About from any given semester, about 40 or 50% of our faculty have disabilities. A wide variety from the people on the autism spectrum. We have people with physical disabilities. We have people who have degenerative disorders, neurological disorders. We have people who have psychiatric disabilities. So we run the gamut here of faculty. But because our program is mostly taught by adjuncts, at any given semester that might change a little bit, but somewhere around 40 or 50% of our faculty have disabilities. So our course materials are accessible, yes. We try to walk the walk here. And we have a person in our disability service office who also is blind and double checks our courses for us. Well, I post the PowerPoint. I think the PowerPoint will get sent out, and I think this is being recorded, and we're very likely to send that out to you as well. So you can review it if you'd like.
Correct. There's a playlist that gets sent out.
It's Darian. Yay! He's there.
Hi there.
Hi. Okay.
Yeah, we send out a playlist with other videos.
So you'll get this as a video that you can watch, and you can see the PowerPoint again should you want to.
You got it.
Want to eliminate all this talk that I've been doing. Okay. So I'm happy that you came. If you have other questions, you can send me an email or send Tamara one. She's happy to talk to you at any point, and so am I. And I'm really glad you came. Thanks for coming to our open house today. We hope to see you in the spring, and if not, maybe next fall.